Hey yo, what's good with it, y'all? It's your boy Logan, and I'm here with my homeboy Elijah. Say what up.
What's up? What's up, y'all?
And we are back at it again here. Took a week off last week. Just schedules didn't align, but then we also saw that as an opportunity to work out a new format that we've been thinking about doing. If you follow us on TikTok, you kind of saw the beginning of that anyways, where we're going to try to do most of our album reviews on there. And then hopefully we'll post here. We'll record an episode every other week. That way we can fit a little bit more focused content. We won't just have every single episode focused on just talk about the albums of the week. We can do a little bit more fun stuff for y'all where we're getting into more discussions. It can make for some longer episodes. Not that every episode is going to be pushing an hour at 2 hours, anything like that, but it gives us the freedom to do that. I'm personally very excited about this idea. I know my boy Elijah here is too.
Of course.
So, like I said, follow us on TikTok. Make sure you're getting those reviews. We're going to try to do other fun stuff on there too. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited about it. I think it gives us some freedom. I think it gives us a little bit of wiggle room in our schedule, which my schedule is clearing up now that football season's over. Praise God. Hate that we lost, but praise God that that's easing off on me a little bit. It's basketball season now, man. But yeah, so like I said, we had a couple releases this week. Meek Mill and Rick Ross, Trippie Redd, Chris Brown, a couple others. We're going to talk about all those on TikTok, so just stay tuned for that. We're not going to spoil anything here. And so just watch out for that throughout the week. But what we're here to talk about now is the Grammys released their nominations earlier this week, and there is a lot to break down here.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people usually disagree with what the Grammys nominate, and especially with what wins. Elijah, I think you could probably name a couple of some of the worst winners of all time if you wanted to, couldn't you?
Yeah, Macklemore. We all know.
Amen. Yeah, that was a rough one. That one, and then what was it in 2018? You had Mac Miller up for it. You had Travis Scott up for it. And yet Cardi B ends up winning Rap Album of the Year. Yeah, that was a rough one as well. Not as bad, nowhere near as bad, but maybe it was just as bad actually, because they did invite Mac Miller's parents and made it seem like he was going to win. That was a pretty bad one.
It wasn't as bad as like the actual choice, but just the whole situation was bad.
Yeah. That was a rough
Whereas the Macklemore one, the choice was just terrible. I'm just saying right there, the choice was terrible.
Yeah.
They know it, everybody knows it.
I give them some credit. He had some bangers on that album. Like Thrift Shop was a hit, and then what was it? Can't Hold Us. That was just a straight up good song. But like when we're talking about putting it up against a timeless classic, one of the best albums of all time, whether we knew that at the time or not, that's what it became. Hindsight's 2020, but even in the moment, we knew.
And I just want to point out, Macklemore himself, if you guys didn't know, Macklemore himself texted Kendrick Lamar and said, I shouldn't have won this. Just saying.
Yeah.
That says everything.
He knew it. But enough about Grammys' mistakes in the past. We know they're going to keep on happening. It's still fun to talk about what got nominated. It's still fun to see those surprise artists. So what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to start off from the bottom, work our way up to what are deemed the more important nominations, the more important rewards. So, like I said, starting from the bottom, we're going to start with Best Contemporary Christian Music Album. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because my boy Lecrae got nominated for Church Clothes Volume 4. He's been nominated for a couple other albums in this category, a couple other songs in the Contemporary Christian Song category. He's won 2 Grammys, I want to say, maybe 3. So that's just cool to see him. Along with him, another Christian rapper, The Truth, is also nominated. It's just cool to see them representing in there. But moving right on along to what y'all really came to hear about. Best Country Album. I think Elijah has a lot to say about this one, don't you, Elijah? It's your favorite genre of music.
I'm going to just go ahead and assume Morgan Wallen got it. I'm just going to assume
Morgan Wallen is not nominated.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the Grammys making a proper choice or if that's he didn't put it up for that. I don't know. I can't say. But that is exciting to know that he will not be winning this award over someone more deserving. The nominations, which I have not heard all of these nominations. I've heard 2 of them. Rolling Up the Welcome Mat by Kelsey Ballerini. I know she has a big following. Self-titled Brothers Osborne by Brothers Osborne. Another self-titled album, Zach Bryan by Zach Bryan. I have heard that one. I have a lot to say about that one later in the show, but let's just say I think that one should easily win this one by far.
Okay.
Rustin' in the Rain by Tyler. I think it's Childers, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
Heard that one. That was a good album as well. I don't think it's as good as a lot of people do, but I did enjoy it. And then Bell Bottom Country by Lainey Wilson, again, I have not heard. Like I said, the only reason I bring that up is because the Zach Bryan record, one of my favorites of the year, of any genre, let alone of country. So I do hope that one wins that. The only other thing I want to bring up in the country category would be Best Americana Album. I see that Weather Vanes by Jason Isbell in the 400 unit is nominated. I would love that one. Again, haven't heard any of the other 4 nominations. Not even going to name them. I just know I want to push that to y'all right now. I love that album. It's not as good as Zach Bryan, like I mentioned earlier, but it is just really good and fun to listen to. And it's not as it's not like as country as the country albums that I named, which I'll say to you, Elijah, for whenever I'm going to get you to listen to that Zach Bryan album. It's not overly country either. It's more of a like alt country or even indie type album more so than country, just with some of that twang. I think you would enjoy that.
Gotcha.
But now we will actually get into more stuff that Elijah can talk about. As we move up into the pop category, I'm scrolling past all the jazz stuff because none of us have listened to jazz in the year 2023.
Unfortunately not. The first thing we get is, when you go all the way up, it's Best Rap Album.
Yeah, I take that back. You're right. Rap comes before pop, of course, because they value rap less. Yes. So first, Best Spoken Word Poetry Album. I'm kidding. Best Rap Album. Elijah, would you like to list our nominees for Best Rap Album in the year 2024? Grammys.
No problem. So we got Her Loss by Drake and 21 Savage. We have Michael by Killer Mike. We have Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin. We have King's Disease 3 by Nas, one of the GOATs. And then we have Utopia by Travis Scott. So I'm going to be honest. This is a really good category. None of the albums on here, every album that's on here deserves to be on here, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to just sit here and say that I can predict which one's going to win. If I had to say who should win, that's tough, man. I might have to go with Heroes and Villains, but
okay. Yeah. So I'll agree with your point. I do not think that there's a single album on here that's undeserving of a nomination. Usually there's one. Usually there is one clear that should not be on there. Usually that's the one that ends up winning. But no, I agree. I think Her Loss, obviously Drake. Drake usually gets nominated, usually doesn't win, but he gets nominated. Killer Mike is a shocking nomination. I am very shocked that one made the cut, but that is one of the best rap albums of the year. Very happy that made it. And like Kendrick said on To Pimp a Butterfly, if you loved real hip hop, Killer Mike would be platinum. He didn't go platinum, but he is nominated for a Grammy, so that's awesome. Again, probably not going to win it, but cool to see him up there. Heroes and Villains, great album. King's Disease 3, not my favorite Nas album. I am doubtful that he wins it for this anyways because he already won for King's Disease 1. And so I would just be shocked, especially being that King's Disease 3 was not as good as the first, or even definitely not better than the second one was the best of the 3. But regardless, and then Utopia, kind of like what you were saying, it's hard to pick a winner. If I had to bet, I wouldn't be shocked if Her Loss won, but I don't think that they're going to pick that just because, again, Drake rarely ever wins anyways, and that's one of his lesser albums that has been nominated. Obviously better than ones like Scorpion. It's a great album, but Scorpion was nominated, and that's a terrible one. But if I had to pick a winner, it's definitely between Heroes and Villains and Utopia. I think Utopia is probably the most deserving up here. Michael would be great, but I'm just not even considering it because there's no way they're going to actually pick that to win it. So if I had to pick one, I'm going with Utopia personally. I would probably be more happy if Metro Boomin won for his, but Utopia
Yeah,
is my pick right now. That's sitting at my rap album of the year, so I would be happy.
I mean,
with
realistically, when you're looking at this list, the three that I think are most likely to win are going to be the biggest names. Obviously, Travis Scott, Drake, and 21, and Metro Boomin. That's again, but I just want to reiterate: if any, and I'm sure Logan can agree, if any of these win, any of these five win, we're not going to have any complaints. It's just one of those. It's one of those times where the Grammys just, I guess, got it right. You know, it's hard. It's hard to argue with their choices here.
Yeah, and even looking through that, now I don't look through the stuff that came out last year because that's just too much for me to keep up. But looking through my albums of the year this year, like the ones that they missed that could have been up there are not ones they'd consider. Like JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown was never going to get a nomination. I could make an argument for Pink Tape by Uzi, but I feel like that's too far out there for them to even consider. So yeah, at that point, like maybe College Park by Logic could have gotten a look, but he's kind of on the backside of his career where they're not thinking about him anymore. Maybe when he was at his biggest, but no, overall, I think that I can't think of a snub really, not a realistic snub anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. I this is one of the rare times they get it right. And I do want to clarify. They say on their website, we're looking at it right now. It says under best rap album, it says for albums containing greater than 75% playing time of new rap records. So I don't know if they've had this on here before, but basically what that's saying is, you got to remember the more popular albums are going to be more skewed towards getting Grammy nominations just because they reach that certain thing. So it's great to see even Killer Mike being this. That means that Killer Mike is getting a lot of spin, which is good. It's good to see. It's good to hear.
I'm sorry. I feel like that has nothing to do with them saying 75%.
Greater than 75% playing time of new rap records. So, like, I'm assuming that means that I'm actually not entirely sure what that means.
I personally read that as meaning that 75% of the album is rap.
Greater than 70%, but it says playing time of new rap recordings. So that's very interesting. I can see what you're saying, though. I can see what you're saying for sure.
Well, and I could see the reason why I say that is because a lot of people were up in arms about Igor winning, which it was deserving, but Igor was not a rap album.
Right. So, yeah, I will want them to explain what that means, but it's just,
maybe that's just us being ignorant. Maybe we shouldn't know, but yes, absolutely, Killer Mike very deserving. Along to the next category because we're not going to pay too much attention to that 75% thing if we don't know what the heck we're talking about. Next category would be Best Rap Song. The nominees being Attention by Doja Cat, Barbie World off the Barbie album by Nicki Minaj, Ice Spice, Just Wanna Rock by Uzi, Rich Flex by Drake and 21, and Scientists and Engineers by Killer Mike featuring Andre 3000 Future and Aaron Allen Kane. Again, I think that's a good nomination list. Obviously, it's a lot more of the higher played songs. Again, Killer Mike, cool that he made it through. But overall, like Rich Flex, that was a very highly played song and also one that blew up on TikTok. Just Wanna Rock was probably the most played out of all of these. You can't escape that song. You still can't. I don't know how you still can. Barbie World, obviously the Barbie movie was probably the biggest movie of the year, so that's no shock. And that was a good song off of a good soundtrack. And then Attention, for whatever reason, Doja Cat just always manages to have one song that blows up. And
always. Never fails.
So if we're talking about what's probably the least deserving to win, but also probably has one of the best chances to win, is the Doja Cat song. You can disagree with me there if you want to, Elijah.
No, I agree. I feel like it's the one that's most likely to win, but I feel like it shouldn't be the one that wins. In my opinion, I don't think it should. Yeah. I personally, just all things considered, surprise, surprise, I'm gonna say Rich Flex. But I could see arguments for Just Wanna Rock because like you just said, it was inescapable. It's everywhere.
Yeah. I would be very happy with Just Wanna Rock winning just because I love that album and it would be cool to see Uzi win a Grammy, not because of that song specifically.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
no,
I
it
think
was
Rich
cool.
Flex probably is the most realistic one that I think is also deserving.
Hmm. And I think Killer Mike's song "Science and Engineers" is a great song. Definitely deserves to be in consideration. But I don't see it winning. To be honest with you, I just don't
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, yeah. Again, it's probably the most deserving song. And how cool would it be for Andre 3000 and Killer Mike to get a Grammy together? That would be awesome. Even though Killer Mike lied to us about the Andre 3000 album coming out, we knew that was a lie. Anyways, if you fell for that, you're stupid.
Literally,
But that's probably the most deserving song. But it's just I'm being realistic. I'm not setting myself up for disappointment. I know it's not going to win.
exactly. Yeah. Okay. Now here's
If
the
you want,
next category.
yep, this
This
is
is
a
gonna be an
fun one.
interesting one. All right. So I actually want to read the description too, so I can understand. But this
Mhm.
one is the best melodic rap performance. Okay. And before I read the description, I'll tell you I'll tell you who's nominated. We have Burner Boy for "Sitting on Top of the World," featured 21 Savage. Good to see 21 Savage on here a bunch of times too.
Yeah, yeah.
"Attention" by Doja Cat, of course. We got "Spin About
Again.
You" by Drake and 21.
Yep.
We have "All My Life" by Lil Durk and J. Cole. And then we have "Low" by SZA. And then, so the description says for a solo or collaborative performance containing both elements of R&B melodies and rap. Okay, you know what?
Okay.
So I want to
That
point something out.
helps.
So I saw this on Twitter, just to give you guys a little story. I saw this on Twitter. I sent it to Logan. It was like, it's weird that SZA's on here. I'm not complaining, but
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. But now that I see the description they have, it makes perfect sense of
yeah,
why this SZA song is on here.
yeah.
Um,
Because it does have elements of both.
yep. So that makes perfect sense. So I have no complaint. I have no complaints about I have no complaints about this list other than the fact that I don't like seeing Doja Cat on here, but I can't sit here and say
Yeah,
she doesn't deserve to be on here either. So
yeah,
it, I, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna just get the cat out of the bag here. I am not a big fan of Doja Cat being considered for most of these rap and R&B. I don't like her being considered for most of these rap ones specifically because she's not a. Yes, she raps, but she's not a rapper, and it kind of
hmm
is annoying that she's getting potentials to win all these Grammys and rap when she that's not her. That's not her.
yes.
Yes, she raps, but she's not a rap artist. She's
If
not a rapper.
if I can expand on what Elijah's saying here, and kind of flip it a little bit.
Mhm.
The bigger issue than her being nominated for rap or R&B is being nominated for a Grammy at all because talent.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean,
for any category, should Doja Cat be earning? I feel like she just got famous for that one time that she said, "Hey, if you get my song to the top of the charts, I'll show you my boobs." And of course, she never. You know, we all know she never did. That was just a joke. We all knew it was a joke. She was talking about doing it on Instagram. It's not even allowed. But I feel like that's when she got famous, and then she's just been a thing ever since.
I'll give her credit. She's managed to stay in the limelight.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And you know what? She does make some good music. I'm just joking about her being talentless.
but we are both in agreement that we don't like seeing her on a lot of these rap lists because she
Yeah,
frankly doesn't really deserve it.
yeah,
I feel like I could probably find another melodic rap performance that I will put over Doja Cat's.
yeah. Maybe not off the top
Um,
of my head, but I
yeah, not off the
agree.
top of my head, but you gave me some time to think about it. I could absolutely come up
Yeah,
with a few. But ignoring her, aside from that, let's go to talk about the other four that are on
hmm
there. And again, one of those ones I can't complain about really. Like there's not too many complaints for the other four for me. Um,
yeah.
I who's gonna win, excluding Doja Cat.
Yeah, because she
SZA.
probably could. You think SZA?
I I think SZA's going to win, and I think
Yeah,
she should win.
yeah, yeah. I could agree. I think SZA should probably win. I would also be happy. As much as the song's overplayed, I would be happy with Lil Durk and J. Cole winning because it's a really good song. It's enjoyable. Again, overplayed to crap, but it came on my smart shuffle earlier today on Spotify, and I didn't skip it because it's a fun to listen to song. But no, I agree. SZA, she is an artist. She has a beautiful voice. I would be very happy with her winning that.
And I mean
Yep.
the song is great. Again, all the songs on here, again, ignore Doja Cat. All the songs on this list are great songs individually. You
Yes.
listen to each one of these songs individually, you're going to enjoy all these songs. I just think SZA is I think Low is just a really great song. If you listen to the whole album and then you hear Low, it's a great like
Yeah.
difference from the other songs on the album, but it's just such a perfect,
Yeah.
like the meaning's perfect, the way she does it is perfect. Like I'm so happy this
Mhm.
song actually got nominated for a Grammy actually because it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
songs off of this album.
Yeah.
Which
And
spoiler
she crafts great albums.
spoiler alert, this is not the last time you'll see SZA on the Grammys list.
Yeah. No. Not even
but
close. Um,
But yeah, I think we're both in agreement. We think SZA's going to take it. We both agree that SZA deserves it. But
mhm.
again, if anyone else wins it, even Doja Cat, if anybody else wins it, I can't be too upset. I'm not going to be too
Yeah.
mad. You know, it's I think it's fair for anybody else to win it. Basically,
Yeah. Agreed. Moving right along to the next category, best rap performance. This one gets a little bit fun. This is one where I could see a surprise happening on someone winning. We have
mm-hmm.
the Hillbillies by Baby Keem featuring Kendrick Lamar.
We go.
We have Love Letter by Black Thought. That's really cool to see him up here.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Flex by Drake and 21, of course. Scientists and Engineers by Killer Mike featuring Andre, Future, and Aaron Allen Kane, like we said earlier. And then Players by Koi Lee Ray. Oh, God, I hate saying her name. Oh, okay. Anyways.
Coy Lorraine.
So, going through the Hillbillies is fun to see up here. I'm a little surprised it's up here because I didn't like. It's a good song. It's a fun song. I don't think it's a Grammy song. I think
Especially not
this
for
is
this
just
category.
I think this is just a case of them still. Obviously, Kendrick's a great artist. I think he's become a little bit of a Grammy darling, at least in the rap category. Ever since they screwed him over with Macklemore, they've just been making it up to him by handing him these other nominations and awards.
Yep.
In most cases, he is the most deserving, but so that's my case for that song winning. Also, I
Mm-hmm.
not saying that I think it's the favorite or definitely not that it should win, and I wouldn't be mad if it did. But moving along, Love Letter by Black Thought. This is another case just like Killer Mike where it would be less likely to win, but being that those two songs make up 40% of this nomination list, I think they have a solid chance of actually one of them taking it this time. I think
Right.
that Killer Mike's probably more deserving than Black Thought in this category, but so be it. Drake and 21 for Rich Flex. Cool to see it up here. Good song. Again, I'd be shocked if it won because Drake doesn't usually win the Grammys like this, but he has a higher chance at winning a rap song versus a rap album just based on the track record of the Grammys. And then
Agreed.
Players, I don't have too much to say about that one. She's grown on me throughout the year, especially for her song on the Spider-Verse soundtrack. I cannot remember the name of that song off the top of my head now. But she has definitely grown on me as an artist. So I can't be too mad that that's up there either. I could probably comb through and find some better nominees than a couple. So like I could probably find a replacement for the Hillbillies as much as I'm a Baby Keem and Kendrick fan. But
Right.
overall, I'm not too mad about any of these five.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, honestly, I'm definitely surprised the Hillbillies is up here for best rap performance. I think it's not that it's not deserving. I'm just surprised. I'm not sure if it's really the strongest rap performance by either Baby Keem or Kendrick. It's a very fun song, and I think it's a great song. But whatever. Again, seeing like Logan said, seeing Love Letter and Scientists and Engineers, just seeing two artists you're like two artists that are deserving of being on here for this, but also you kind of surprised because usually you don't see them on these lists,
Yep.
But I would say that you see Rich Flex and Players. So most likely, I think I'm gonna say it right here, right now. I think Players has a strong chance of winning, a lot stronger chance than people might be thinking.
Yeah.
Because so here's one thing we got to remember about the Grammys. A lot of times it boils down to popularity.
Yep.
Players is a super popular song, and not just in hip hop, just in general. It's a good song. It's actually a really good song.
Yes.
If you haven't listened to it, it's actually genuinely a good song. That's why I'm saying, like, I think this is it's deserving of being up there too. If I were to choose one to win, I'm going with Scientists and Engineers. If I had to choose, like, my decision,
Yeah. Fully agree.
but if I had to say who I think wins, it's probably going to be Players. If it's not Players, it's probably going to be Rich Flex. It's one of those two who's going to win. But I think Scientists and Engineers deserves to win.
Yeah, fully agreed on that. I think that I would say they're probably going to take Hillbillies over Rich Flex, but I agree that Players is probably going to take it.
Mhm.
Just seeing what the likelihood is based on that. But yeah, overall, again, another category I won't be too mad if any of them win, which is that's just a good thing to see from the Grammys. Like once I get to the day of, I might be like, hold on, I'm riding hard for this one specific choice, but right now I'm okay with anything.
Agreed.
Um,
Agreed. These are okay.
move.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yep.
say. So
Let's
if we
move
move
on
it,
to the next one. This is where you kind of take over for a little bit.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah. So I mean, I'll be honest. The R&B category is always very weird because they have very weird
mhm.
sub breakdowns of it. So I want to say this because the next two is best R&B album and best progressive R&B album, which
Yeah.
I don't understand why they have that separated, but it's probably a good thing because it allows for more
Yes.
artists to have a chance of winning. So I can't complain about that. But we'll start with best R&B album. So we started out. We got "Girls Night Out" by Babyface. We have "What I Didn't Tell You" by Coco Jones. You have "Special Occasion" by Emily King. We have "Jaguar 2" by Victoria Monet, and then we have "Clear 2" Soft Life EP by Miss Summer Walker. Um, so I'll go ahead and be completely honest with y'all and you. I did not listen to Babyface's album, and I don't even know who Emily King is. I'll be straight up. Like
I'm glad
I'm
you're
not even.
okay.
I am not even gonna lie.
At least we're on the same page. At least we're on the same page. Okay.
I have no idea who Emily King is, so I'm not gonna say she doesn't deserve to be on here. She might even deserve to win it. I don't know. I just haven't heard of her.
That's
But
an artist
of the
that's
ones
an album we'll give a listen to before the Grammys actually come around. That way we'll know
exactly,
more of what we're talking about whenever we see who actually wins.
exactly. But what I will say of the three albums that I are three artists because I didn't really listen to Coco Jones or Victoria Monet's albums, but I've obviously heard songs by them. Um, and then I heard Summer Walker, of course. If I had to say
Yeah.
who I think will win, it's hard for me to say who I think will win because I haven't heard. I definitely haven't heard two of the five albums, so I can't tell
Mm-hmm.
you. I can't say confidently who I think will win. Who I think should win. Again, with the three that I know of, I'd say Summer Walker. But it's one of those situations where I'm saying Summer Walker because she's one of my favorites. I
Yeah.
can't say that she deserves to win it over Coco Jones or Victoria Monet because she's so much better than them. I'm saying it because she's my favorite.
Yeah. See, I wasn't that big. I like Summer Walker. I was not that big of a fan of this project. I think it was good, but overall, I didn't. It didn't stick out to me that much. But I mean, just like you, the other ones I haven't paid as much attention to. Summer Walker is probably the biggest name. I feel like at least in today's R&B music, she's probably the biggest name out of these.
Definitely.
Um, I'm gonna have to go through and listen to these a lot more. I would not be surprised if Summer Walker won. I also wouldn't be surprised if Coco Jones or Victoria Monet won. The other ones, I'd be a little surprised if they won. Not that they're not deserving. Again, like you said, we haven't listened to those two. We will get around to it. Um,
And I and I mean I will
yeah, not
say
much I can add to that.
we know Babyface. Babyface has been around for a while, so
Yes, yes.
we know what Babyface can do. So I'm not surprised he's on this list at all. But I'm going to reserve my
Just the
judgment on
fact that we
Emily
haven't
King.
listened to that album.
Right, that, and I'm gonna reserve my judgment on Emily King. Like Logan said, I think what we're gonna do is for these ones, especially, we're gonna actually take these albums and listen to them, and we're gonna have something for you guys when we do the Grammy episode after the Grammys come out, so that way
Yes,
we can actually talk about it and confidently tell you.
yes.
But
All
moving
right.
forward from that one,
Let's see, this next category I can actually add a little bit to. So best progressive R&B album, like you said. You have "Since I Have a Lover" by Black, or Six Lack if you like to have fun with his name. The Love album, "Off the Grid" by Diddy. "Nova" by Terrace Martin and James Font. How do you say that, Elijah?
I'm pretty sure it's Fauntleroy.
Okay.
Yeah,
"The Age of
Fauntleroy.
Pleasure" by Janelle Monáe and "SOS" by SZA.
Ooh, that is a okay.
It's a good category.
That's a very tough category. There's one album off the top of my head that I'm saying it's not like the others. It's like that, you know, that meme with the clown, and then you
The
have
clown
the
and
soldiers.
yep.
Yes. There's one on here that's that clown, and I think me and you know which one that is.
I hated that album.
Just so you guys know, it's the Love album Off the Grid. That's the clown in this meme.
Yeah. Sorry, Diddy. If that album wins, then R&B truly is dead.
Which is ironic because he said he was trying to revive R&B with the album. And
Yep.
Listen, before we even talk about any of the other albums, I just want to say this: that album, not a good album. Individual songs off that album are great, good to great individual R&B songs, but the album itself, no.
Now, we have talked about that on this podcast, so if you want to hear more of our thoughts, you can go back to that. But overall, neither one of us liked it. That's the point.
And I'm sure, I'm honestly, I don't really, be real. I'm not sure exactly what best progressive R&B album means. Like, I don't know what they consider progressive R&B or whatever. But I'm sure I could find another album that could fit on here better than Diddy's album. But we're not gonna.
I have a feeling Daniel Caesar could probably fit that category. Just saying. Oh my God, he should have been up for this. Oh my God!
I think
if not, he should have been up for best R&B album. He should have been up for something. But I digress.
So going on to the other albums, Since I Have a Lover by Black, Black has always been a great artist. I've loved all his music. I think his album was great. I think this album came out before we had a chance to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, it was before we started the podcast.
So, we don't have obviously we don't have anything about it before, but it's a great album. I'm gonna have to listen to it again. My plan is to listen to all these albums again, just so I can get a good idea of like which one I would want to win.
I'm not listening to that Diddy album again.
We ignore that. So Nova, I haven't listened to that one, so that's one I have to listen to.
Me either.
So I'm glad to see it on there so I can listen to it. The Age of Pleasure,
like the Diddy one,
which I doubt. I don't think any of these are going to be that level. The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe, amazing album. Janelle Monáe is an amazing artist. And then
this is not her. That album is not as good as her last album, Dirty Computer. It's her just having fun though. It's not her trying to send a message. I love that album, man. That was my album of the year for so long. It's kind of started to fall off a little bit while other music has come out that's better, but man, that's still one of the best albums of the year in my opinion.
And then we have SOS by SZA, which
came out at the end of the year last year. One of the best albums from last year.
I'll be honest. My bias is going to show here. I'm picking SZA straight up.
Yeah. I think this should be a 2-album race between SZA and Janelle Monáe. Love Black's album. It's not on the level of those two. I'd be happy if either one of that. I personally would vote for Janelle Monáe, but I'd be happy if SZA won. Those two are both some of the best albums of their respective years. Very glad they're both very deserving to be up for this.
Yeah, and I think that realistically speaking, SZA is going to win. She's the biggest artist of any of these on here. Well, you could argue. Technically, maybe Diddy's bigger. No, he's not. SZA's the biggest artist of any of these. So just purely off numbers, I would say SZA wins it, but also quality. SZA deserves to win it off quality as well. Not to say that Janelle Monáe doesn't deserve to win it either, but I just think that SZA's probably going to win it, and I'm not going to be upset if she does. So the next one.
Now, these next 3 categories you're going to talk about without any input from you. I'm just letting you know.
Gotcha. Okay. And so I will let you guys know that some of these next categories is going to be maybe 1 or 2 that I might not know, but I will listen and give you a good idea on. But this next category is best R&B song. So we have Angel by Halle Bailey, not Halle Berry, but Halle Bailey.
I knew you were about to say that.
If you guys watch the movie The Little Mermaid, the girl who played The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Then we got Back to Love by Robert Glasper featuring Sir and Alex Isley. We have I See You by Coco Jones. We have On My Mama by Victoria Monet. And we have Snooze by SZA.
So all familiar names.
Mm-hmm. All big names, all familiar names. This is probably going to be one of the hardest ones to actually say which wins best R&B song. If I'm being honest with you, because so naturally, I'm a big SZA fan. I loved Snooze. Snooze is just one of the best songs off that album, 100%.
Yeah.
It might be the best song off that album, honestly. Um, but then we got On My Mama by Victoria Monet, which I'm sure you guys are hearing that all the time. It's been all over the radio. I know that. I don't even listen to the radio, but the very little I've listened to the radio, I've heard it plenty of times. I'm sure. I don't know if it's hit TikTok hard yet or not. I haven't really seen it, but I wouldn't be surprised. And then going to I See You. I mean, there's Coco Jones version. Then there's also the remix with Justin Timberlake, right? Is it Justin Timberlake? Yeah, it was Justin. Babe.
Question for the audience.
She can't hear me. It's all right. I feel like my girlfriend would know that answer, but I think it was Justin Timberlake that was on the remix of ICU. And
yes, it was. I looked it up.
Okay, thank you. So, one of the best songs of the year, definitely, obviously. But like those three right there, I've listened to all three of those more than enough times to tell you which of those three to talk about those three individually. Back to Love and Angel. Back to Love by Robert Glasper. I have to listen to Robert Glasper. So if you guys don't know, Robert Glasper is really big. I think he's correct me if I'm wrong, Logan, but I think he's a pianist. And
watch your language, sir.
I think he plays the piano, is what I'm saying. But he's also, he's also a very great R&B artist. Okay, he's a very great R&B artist. Very deserving to be on here. If you guys are wondering, he's very deserving to be on here. And then Halle Berry, I just haven't listened. Halle Bailey, I just haven't. I have not listened to Angel, so I can't say anything off of that. But the three that I've listened to,
yeah,
man, it's like neck and neck. Bias would lead me to Snooze, but
yeah, no shame in that one.
But I See You and On My Mama absolutely deserve to be on here and would deserve to win it if they win as well. I mean, those are two amazing R&B songs by two up and coming great R&B artists as well, which is something I'm really happy to see, that we have multiple up and coming R&B artists, because you could even put Halle Bailey in that list as up and coming R&B artists. I'm glad to see that we have that coming up, with also some heavy hitters in SZA and Robert Glasper. Even if you guys don't really know him like that, it's good to see that. So the next category going up is best traditional R&B performance. So we have Simple with Babyface featuring Coco Jones. We have Lucky by Kenyon Dixon. We have Hollywood, which is Victoria Monet featuring Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Hazel Monet, which I'm assuming is her sister. We have Good Morning by PJ Morton featuring Susan Carroll. And then we have Love Language by SZA. Remember how I said SZA's going to be on here a lot? Yeah.
Yep.
It's not the last time you see her again.
That is not going to be the last time.
As far as this one, I've really only heard Love Language out of these like that. I haven't really listened to, like I said, I didn't listen to that Babyface album, so I don't, I haven't heard that song, Simple. I'm not familiar with Kenyon Dixon or PJ Morton, so I'm going to have to familiarize myself with them. Hollywood was a good song. I'm just not, if I'm being honest, if I'm comparing it between the two that I had to listen to, Love Language and Hollywood, I think Love Language takes it easily. Straight up.
Yeah.
Again, that's not to say that none of these other songs aren't deserving, but I also think that realistically, SZA's probably going to take this category too, because I mean,
SZA's going to make out strong in your book, man.
Hey, man, I'm just saying, like, this is one of those times too where I'm not just going with the bigger artists. Like, this is SZA's. If you guys, I shouldn't have to say this to you guys, but SOS is one of the best albums that's been released in the last few years, honestly. Yeah. Like, and I'm not just this last year, like last few years. And there's a reason why it's representing a lot on the Grammys list. It's very deserving to be represented on this Grammys list. I don't think she's going to win every category, obviously, because nobody ever does that. But I think it's a good chance she wins a lot of these categories. And I think that this one, for me, just of the two I've heard, I would take her. But again, I want to listen to all the other ones to let you guys know for real, like which one I think has a chance other than Love Language, because I think that's how it goes. So we'll just move forward, though, because I don't want to talk too much into that one. Best R&B performance, which I don't know how that's different than traditional R&B performance, but hey, we have We have Summer Too Hot by Chris Brown. We have Back to Love by Robert Glasper again. We have I See You again by Coco Jones. We have How Does It Make You Feel by Victoria Monet. And then we have Kill Bill by SZA again. So we're seeing a lot of the
Wait,
same.
I want to put money right now that he's going to pick SZA.
We're gonna see we see a lot of the same characters we've seen in the last few categories for this. I mean, there's a reason why too. These are those four that have been in previous ones are all deserving. Um, Summer Too Hot, great song. I think it. I think it's a good song. I don't think it has any chance of winning this one because I just think the other four are stronger. Um, Actually, I would go with I See You on this one
Oh, he's
for best
just
R&B
doing that
performance.
because I said something.
No. Hear me out. I Coco Jones in this song has a everything about this song is beautiful. Kill Bill is a beautiful song, but everything about I See You is beautiful, and the way she's able to stretch her voice on this song, the way she's able to stress her voice in this song,
Mm-hmm.
it's great. Have you heard this song, Logan? I mean, this is
Yeah.
a I was gonna say I'm pretty sure you probably heard this. This is a pretty popular song. So you know, as far as that, I think you could agree with me that that song "I See You" is a really great
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
I
don't think Kill Bill is SZA's best song off of that album, anyways.
no, it may be the most popular because of
Yeah.
what it represents and what she does with it. It's still a good song. It's just not the best song
Yes.
off that album. I agree. All right, so moving forward, I think now we can
This
kind
is
of
where I
let
take
Logan
back
come
over.
back in.
Yes, sir. This is where I take back over. All right. So, we're moving into more of the pop area. We started off, kick it off with best alternative music album. Again, these are not all songs. These are not all albums I will have heard. We start off with "The Car" by Arctic Monkeys. I'm going to listen to that. I like Arctic Monkeys, but I have not heard that album. Um, Moving along, we have "The Record" by Boy Genius, which is a like a super group, as I've had it described to me. Um,
Oh, okay.
I know that it has Phoebe Bridgers in it. I cannot remember who else is in there. Let me pull that up. Phoebe Bridgers, Julian Baker, and who's the last one? I'm letting it load on my Spotify page. Lucy Dacus, however you say it. Either way, I love that album. One of my favorite albums of the year. That album will pop up again on this Grammy nomination list. I think that one would be very deserving to win. Next, did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey? Same thing there. Love that album. That album is kind of how I started listening to Lana Del Rey.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Everyone started listening to her back in NFR or even further back. Than that, but I'm late to the party. I know, whatever. I've been on just a rap kick until the past couple of years. So now that I'm expanding my musical taste, I love her music. I think that she's like a modern day version of Bob Dylan. I don't think that's a one for one comparison, but I think if you listen to her and you listen to him, you can see what I'm saying. I would be happy if that one as well. Then you get Cracker Island by Gorillaz. I'm happy to see the Gorillaz are up for this. This is not their best work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to win. I don't think it should win. But again, just happy to see them up here because they are a legendary group. And then Inside the Old Year Dying by PJ Harvey. I have not heard. Can't say anything about that one. You got anything to add, Elijah?
I haven't listened to any of these albums. I know the artists, Gorillaz, Lana Del Rey, and Arctic Monkeys, but their songs, the albums, I haven't listened to, so I can't really say much other than, hey, interesting list.
Yeah. All right. Moving along, because I've already said, like I said, Boy Genius or Lana Del Rey should win that one. I would bet on Lana Del Rey, but Boy Genius is very deserving as well. Best alternative music performance. This is just a song. The description being for new vocal or instrumental solo duo / group or collaborative alternative music recordings. That was a lot to say. We have
Mouthful.
Belinda Says by Alves. I've never heard that song, that
Never heard of them.
artist.
Nope, never.
Body Paint by Arctic Monkeys. Again, haven't listened to that album. I'm assuming that's a song off of that album. Can't say anything about that. Cool About It by Boy Genius. Again, great album, great song. A&W by Lana Del Rey. Again, that was one of my favorite songs off of that album, so I'm fine with that. And then the probably what I would say the deserving winner is This Is Why by Paramore.
Mm-hmm.
Love that album, love that song. Haley Williams' vocals are beautiful on that song, and I think that a lot of people have started to realize that album is like a return to form for Paramore, but upping the stakes with their more they're more grown up now than they were whenever they were making music and really popular. So I think that song should win. What probably will win is A&W, but I wouldn't sleep on This Is Why. That's a great song, and if I'm not mistaken, that is the intro track to that album. Great way to get that album started. I know you would be happy if that one won, Elijah.
Absolutely. Paramore. Love Paramore. That's all I can really say about this list. About this one is I think I would love it if Paramore won. Can't say if they deserve to win, but I'm glad to hear that Logan thinks they deserve to win. So because he thinks that, I'm going with that. Because he thinks that, I'm going with that. They deserve to win.
Yes. Best rock album comes up next, and I've heard 3 of these. I'll start with the ones I haven't. Starcatcher by Greta Van Fleet. That's one I want to listen to now. Again, just I haven't been that on top of rock. I kind of got started in the listening to every single album and ranking stuff once we realized we were going to start this podcast, which was back in like August,
right?
Maybe July. So I was late on a lot of things. So I haven't heard that one, and I haven't heard In Times New Roman by Queens of the Stone Age, but I do know about Queens of the Stone Age. They make great music. So, but of the ones I have heard, But Here We Are by Foo Fighters, which just like This Is Why by Paramore, very much a recapturing of old magic, but with the growth that they have now being older. Very enjoyable listens. And both of those are nominated. I mentioned This Is Why by Paramore. That is also up for this award as well. And then 72 Seasons by Metallica. They recaptured a lot of their magic a couple years back with their release of Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This is the sequel album to that, 72 Seasons, which again shows some of that recapturing of their old magic, a lot of the same energy that they used to have in their classic albums. They had one of the best all-time 5-album runs to start off their career. And now that they're recapturing some of that magic, it's fun to listen to. They're still just as energetic now as they ever have been. So I'm happy that's up for it. That would be my preferred pick to win, but the one that I think probably is most deserving of the 3 I've heard would be This Is Why by Paramore again. I think that's the best album of the 3 I've heard. Would not be shocked if any of the 3 I've heard won it, though. They're all very deserving to be up there. And again, just can't say much about the ones I haven't heard. So,
right.
Again, Elijah, I don't imagine you can add too much more other than saying, "Hey, I like Paramore." I'm gonna get you to listen to more Metallica. I know you've heard their biggest hits or whatever. Like you've heard Enter Sandman and stuff, but I'm gonna get you to listen to at least that 5-album run that they started with, man, because that is one of my favorite bands of all time.
I am down to get more into rock because I at the very least I want to be able to listen and know and be able to talk about it because rock is a very it's a very interesting category. It's bled a lot into hip hop now too. Like if you see a lot of the bigger hip hop artists a lot of them call themselves rock stars now. So
yeah. And a lot of the rebellious nature that was in rock, you can see it in hip hop now.
Exactly.
It's always been there. So that is cool to see how they're kind of embracing that. But moving right along this next category, I'm not going to have as much to say about. I don't have as much to say about any of the song categories in general because I'm more of an album listener than a song listener anyway. So to pick out specific songs, I don't always do that very well. But I do recognize most of these songs. Again, have not heard the Queens of the Stone Age album. So Emotion Sickness, I can't say that I've heard that song. Angry by the Rolling Stones. Love the Rolling Stones. Can't say that I've listened to any music by the Rolling Stones released in the 2020s. So cool to see that they're up here, though. That is really cool. One of the best bands of all time. But breaking down the ones that I've heard quite a few times, we've got Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl by Olivia Rodrigo. I think that's cool to see up here. I remember us talking specifically about that song, if I remember correctly, how that had more of a rock influence than some of the rest of the album. Love to see that up here. Love to see her considered a rock artist as well as a pop artist because that's what she is. She doesn't fit in one box.
Agreed.
On top of that, familiar name, we have Boy Genius with their song Not Strong Enough. And then we have Foo Fighters with their song Rescued. I can't say that I can pick a winner on here again because I can't go back. Whenever I think about the albums, I think of just an entire picture. Like, oh, it was a 40-minute project, not that,
Right.
oh, I
Right.
remember that specific 3-minute section of it. I would be happy if any of the three that I've heard won. I wouldn't care about any of these five. It's not like this is a category I'm going to be up in arms about anyways.
Right. Me personally, I'd say Ballad of a Homeschool Girl will probably win just
because
based off of popularity. Yeah.
And because that's the only song he's heard of those five.
It's the only song I've heard, but I'm saying it probably wins because of popularity. Right now, Olivia Rodrigo is one of the most popular artists in the world.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't be surprised. But of course, that's also the only one I've heard. So it's the only one I really can't say I think can win. But yes. I definitely do want to. Again, I'm going to, at least for me personally, I'm like Logan. I actually like listening to singles and individual songs as well. So I think this is actually something that I'm going to make sure that I listen to all of these songs and see, at least be able to compare which ones I think should win over each other.
Yes, absolutely. The next category, as we're moving on through, is Best Metal Performance. Only one I've heard on here was 72 Seasons by Metallica. I'm not the biggest metal fan outside of Metallica. Slipknot and Disturbed are cool. Can't say that I've listened to much Ghost or Spirit Box. Maybe I'll get through and listen to all of these, but obviously my pick would be 72 Seasons. It's the only one I've listened to. Metallica is my favorite rock band of all time, so not going to say too much about that. I'm just going to move straight into the next one, which is Best Rock Performance. Again, these are all singles. A bunch of familiar names again. Arctic Monkeys with Sculptures of Anything Goes. Black Pumas with More Than a Love Song. Boy Genius with Not Strong Enough. Foo Fighters with Rescued. And Metallica with Lux Eterna. I just talked about how I don't have that much to say about individual songs. I remember very vividly the song Lux Eterna. That song is a banger. I will be a little disappointed if that song doesn't win. Not Strong Enough might be more beautiful, whatever. Lux Eterna is such a blast to listen to. I love that song. I will be very happy if that song wins. Foo Fighters, Boy Genius, great. Not that big of a fan of Black Pumas. And again, haven't heard the Arctic Monkey song. But that pretty much breaks down all of that, and now we get into pop, dance, and then we break down the main categories. Let's see. Are we going to talk about all of these? No, we're not going to talk about best dance electronic music.
No, definitely not.
Well, let's mention James Blake.
I was just about to say
for that.
Yeah, Playing Robots into Heaven.
Really enjoyed that album.
Very good album.
But skipping on to what I think we'll actually want to talk about. Let's see. Skipping all the dance electronic. You want to just go to best pop vocal album, Elijah, number 9?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think I've heard all but one of these. So yeah, but if you want to kick it off here, I've talked for way too long straight.
So talking with the best pop vocal album, we have Chemistry by Kelly Clarkson. We have Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus. We have Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. We have Subtract by Ed Sheeran. And then we have Midnights by Taylor Swift. So pop is I feel like pop is one of the hardest ones to really, it could be one of the hardest and one of the easiest, because I see with pop, it's definitely based on popularity. So like, you kind of know who's going to win it most of the time, but most of the time it's like,
I'll say this. Out of the 5 that get nominated, it's hard to pick because all of them are extremely popular.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. This is one of those times where it's like hard because they're all so popular that it's like, we obviously have Taylor Swift, who's probably the biggest artist in the world right now. We have Olivia Rodrigo up there with her. Ed Sheeran, again, up there with them. Miley Cyrus is up there with them. Kelly Clarkson up there with them. So like,
Kelly Clarkson's probably the least popular of the 5, easily.
I'd say so.
And that's also the one of the 4 albums I have not heard.
I haven't heard that one either, so I'm glad we're on the same page with that one. I'm gonna say that if I had to take the 4 that I have heard, I think if we're talking purely off best vocal performance on the album, it's hard for me not to want to go with Miley Cyrus in this one, to be honest with you, because I think
I listened to that album earlier today. Just as a reminder, man, she is so good on that,
And
and her
again,
writing was top tier too.
I'm going based on pure vocal performance on the album. That's not to say any of the other
Mm-hmm.
vocal performances were bad. I just think Miley
Yeah.
Cyrus's was really, really amazing. I think she has an amazing voice and she does so well with that.
Yes.
And a song you'll see later. I'm going to spoil a song you'll see a little bit in a little bit on the list. Flowers, amazing, amazing vocal performance on that song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'd go with Miley. I'm be honest, even without listening to the Kelly Clarkson album, I'm sure I'm not going to pick it up from Miley Cyrus. So,
I agree.
I would go with Miley Cyrus on this one.
My preferred pick would be Miley Cyrus. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the one they actually go with. I would be very happy if Olivia Rodrigo won as well. I think that's probably the next most deserving. You could even make an argument for it being more deserving. I'd be happy if Ed Sheeran won just because I'm an Ed Sheeran fan, but I don't think this is the album to take it. Subtract was good. It was nothing special in terms of his discography. I think Divide was much better. I think Times was better as well, and I think Plus was better as well. They're a good album, but still. And then Midnights by Taylor was a good album. I don't think that it's more deserving than the two that we've named above it.
Agreed.
It's nothing special in Taylor's discography either.
And I agree with Logan. I will put Guts as my second choice after Miley Cyrus's, because I think that Olivia Rodrigo also had a standout vocal performance on her album. And actually,
yes,
I'll say this:
and she transcends genres.
Exactly, and I just want to say her vocal performance transcended just pop and just rock, and she was great on all of those songs. So it's yeah.
And on top of all that, her debut album was great. This one was an improvement on that. So maybe it's time for her to start breaking through. That would be really cool. But moving on to the next category, best pop duo / group performance. So this is where you have a feature or a band or something like that together, that they're having multiple people singing the song. We have 1,000 Miles. Again, you're hearing the name again, Miley Cyrus featuring Brandi Carlile. You have Candy Necklace, Lana Del Rey featuring Jon Batiste, which is where I kind of started to discover him, and that's why we paid more attention to his album when it dropped. You have Never Felt So Alone, Labyrinth featuring Billie Eilish. Shout out Billie Eilish, love her music. Karma, Taylor Swift featuring Ice Spice. And Ghost in the Machine, SZA. I wonder what Elijah's going to pick, featuring Phoebe Bridgers.
It's
not much more to say about that one. Love those two working together.
It's so funny seeing Ice Spice on this. It's so funny seeing her on this.
Yeah, Karma is a great song. Let me say that Karma is a great song. I will be very mad if that song wins for this category.
Oh man. So I'll just go ahead and get the cat out of the bag. I like Ghost in the Machine a lot.
I think SZA's going to win.
I actually don't think SZA's going to win this one, but I do like Ghost in the Machine a lot. It's a great song, but let's be real. I can't pick SZA for everything. And like I said before, I would go with 1,000 Miles, because I really loved Miley's vocal performance on her album as a whole. I think this song was a really great song as well. I haven't listened to Candy Necklace, so I can't judge that yet. So I have to listen to it. But knowing what I know about Lana Del Rey and Jon Batiste, I'm sure that's a great song as well. So I'm sure it deserves to be up there. I'm a big Billie Eilish fan too. I love Billie Eilish. Yeah. So I Never Felt So Alone is a great song. I mean, this is honestly a solid list. It's funny seeing
solid list. All of them are very deserving.
Right. It's funny seeing Ice Spice on here, but it's a very deserving song.
Yeah. No. So going straight off of what you just said, man. Not only was obviously the Lana Del Rey album was great, I think that is maybe the best song on that album. Her vocal performance on that and just the emotion. Like, she isn't like one of these people who's going to reach these different ranges of singing. So you get more of her in terms of, like, think about how you see an actor perform. And you see the emotion that they can convey just talking. That's how I would compare her vocal performances. Not so much in hitting high notes, low notes, and you can feel the rawness in it, but just it's hard to explain. Like I said, listen to some Bob Dylan, and listen to how she performs her music. They're not hitting these crazy notes, but you can feel the volume with how they're saying their stuff. And this is a perfect song example of that. And then to have Jon Batiste on here as well. I don't think he overly shines on it, but I think that them two coming together makes a beautiful product. That would be my preferred choice, but um, is it going to win? I wouldn't be shocked if Karma won. I wouldn't be shocked if Thousand Miles won. Miley Cyrus,
Yeah.
obviously, like we said, she is putting up some of her best vocal performances ever on that album, and that is another example of that. So if that wins, great.
Okay, so our next category is best pop solo performance. Some interesting names here. So we start with "Flowers" by Miley Cyrus. It's not really interesting. It's ironic that I said that, but
one interesting
one interesting name. "Paint the Town Red" by Doja Cat.
Ba-bum.
"What Was I Made For" by Billie Eilish. "Vampire" by Olivia Rodrigo, and "Antihero" by Taylor Swift. So I'm the cat out of the bag. We know it's Doja Cat's still interesting name on here. Ironically, I have a problem with this song also being on here.
That was a good song in my opinion.
It was, but I don't. Ironically, I feel like this and "Attention" should have been swapped. Honestly,
Yeah,
I feel like "Paint the Town Red" is more of a rap song than. I mean, I have to re-listen to "Attention." I have to re-listen to "Attention," but I feel like it should be flipped here. This is very interesting how they chose her songs on here. But
that makes no sense. But anyway, throwing that one out because that one shouldn't win. Boom, four songs are nominated. Let's talk about those.
So the four that we're talking about, I mean, I kind of buried the lead earlier when I said "Flowers" was one of my favorite songs off of her album. Again, vocally, I'll be honest, I think "Flowers" should win it just purely off the vocals. I think that the vocals on the song are just amazing, and they're just better than everybody else's vocals in the other songs. Not that they had bad vocals. Not that they had bad vocals. I'm not saying anybody had bad. I'm not saying that Miley Cyrus is just like, ooh, but I enjoyed it so much. But I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say "Vampire" had better vocals than "Flowers." Honestly.
Okay, fair.
But again, that's her stretching out into her rock, whereas Miley is kind of in this emotional state. So it's very different vocal performances.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if "Vampire" takes it because of I think that the way that Olivia does her vocals on "Vampire" is also very impressive, and I think that is I think again, I'm gonna say this about Olivia. I think as an artist, this shows how future-proof she is, honestly. I think that she's very future-proof at this point, where I'm pretty confident she's going to be around for a while because she has that range to be able to do a pop song and sound amazing on it, do a song that's like a mix between pop and rock and just everything. I think I would choose "Flowers," but honestly, I think "Vampire" is also a worthy winner as well. I would choose one of those two. I like Billie Eilish, like I said. Taylor Swift's cool, but I just think that "Flowers" and "Vampire" are the two most deserving ones on this list.
Yeah. And I'll say I enjoy "Antihero" by Taylor Swift. I think that's a really good song, but I don't think it's as deserving as the other two. I agree. I think "Flowers" is going to win. I just know how big of a fan I was of "Vampire," so I have to say that would be my preferred choice. But
which, I respect that.
Any of them,
No, exactly.
Oh, my God. I forgot how long this... Okay, so this next category... we're not going to talk about Songwriter of the Year. We're not talking about Songwriter of the Year. We don't have enough time to break down all of that. But Producer of the Year. Let me just say, I'm not going to list everything that all of these people did. I'm going to list some of the more important ones, okay? Some of the bigger ones. So we start with Jack Antonoff, who helped out on Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey. Also helped out on Midnights by Taylor Swift. And we got Durst D-Mile Emile, who helped out on Jaguar 2 by Victoria Monet, and helped out on the song Bus Stop by Don Toliver featuring Brent Faiyaz. No, I'm sorry. I'm skipping. All that Durst helped out on was Jaguar 2. Okay, that made sense. All right, Hit Boy helped out on that. The way this is laid out is very hard.
It's very confusing. Yeah, I agree.
Going into Hit Boy is just mainly on here for helping out on King's Disease 3, Magic 2, Magic 3, and a couple other tracks. And then we get to where they have a typing error and they have Metro Boomin, but it's laid out so weird that you could almost skip it. But anyways, Metro Boomin, obviously he helped out with he had his own album. He made the Spider-Verse album. He helped out on the Young Thug album. He helped out on the Drake and 21 album.
It's
he helped
very
out on
gorgeous.
the Utopia Travis Scott album. Yeah,
The way they have that laid out is very annoying, honestly.
yeah, yes. Then we got Daniel. I'm gonna say Nigro because I don't want to say it the other way. Nigro. You just use your imagination on that one. If my friend here will stop laughing, he helped out with Dermot Kennedy, the entire album Guts by Olivia Rodrigo, a couple other names here. Caroline Polachek, that was her album, gained some critical acclaim as well. Overall, the main ones I want to talk about would be Jack Antonoff, Hit Boy, and Metro Boomin. I've got less to say about Daniel N-word.
Oh man, that's a perfect name. I love that name because I just know so many people are always nervous to say his last name. I just know they're so nervous to say his last name. I love it.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Oh man.
But yes, so Jack Antonoff, I think he's very deserving to be up for this. Helped out with the 1975, like I said, helped out with Lana Del Rey and Taylor Swift. That's Lana Del Rey, Taylor Swift, two of the best albums this year. And well, I guess Taylor Swift was last year, but still, and they were very well produced. Hit Boy, we know his work with Nas. He's done other work outside of that, but we know his work with Nas, man. Oof, very deserving. I'm so glad he's getting the recognition. Metro Boomin, way more famous than Hit Boy, but still very glad he's getting his recognition. That Spider-Verse album was great. And his personal album that came out at the end of last year was great. And all the other work that he's done.
So, what I want to say is I'm going to start with Metro Boomin, just because I want to go up that way. So Metro Boomin, obviously, he had his own album, which they have plenty of songs off that. He helped out with Young Thug. He helped out with Drake, yada, yada, all that. Metro Boomin, I don't think I really need to explain why he deserves to be on here, so I'll just put it this way. Metro Boomin is one of the best producers ever at this point. Yes. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I think it's amazing that he's obviously getting the Grammy recognition, but I also think it's amazing that, like, you consider, like, how many artists, especially specifically hip hop artists, rely on him to, like, help them reach pinnacles that they would not have reached without him.
Yeah, the amount of songs on here that are under his category, holy crap! And that, again, that's not including that he was the executive producer on 2 of his own personal albums.
Exactly. So Metro Boomin, like I said, don't really talk too much more about him other than we know he's deserving and he probably is going to win it. Honestly, let's be real. Like, and it's not to insult anybody else, but, like, I think I think this is a numbers and quality thing here. The quantity and quality matchup for him to win it, in my opinion, this year. But going to Hit Boy, like Logan said, we know Hit Boy. Hit Boy is also one of the best. He's also one of the best hip hop producers, and he's very. Hit Boy is one of those producers. If you listen to rap enough, rappers are excited to work with him as well. They are super excited to get a chance to work with him and make something with him.
And a lot of artists have dropped their best work with him. Not saying that Nas did, but it definitely revitalized Nas's career on this side of it.
I mean, honestly, for recent times, yes, Hit Boy has been one of the main reasons why Nas has still been is still relevant.
Yeah.
And
every time Hit Boy works with Benny the Butcher, I love to hear it. Yeah, Hit Boy is very deserving to be nominated. I agree. I think Metro Boomin's more deserving. Although where I'm going to disagree, I don't see them not taking Jack Antonoff on this one. I think I would take Metro Boomin, but I just don't see them not taking an artist a producer who worked on Lana Del Rey and Taylor Swift. That's just too obvious Grammy bait.
Yeah, definitely Grammy.
That's my one. Very deserving, very deserving. But the hip hop fan in me wants to say Metro Boomin all the time. Should get that. So,
but again, I mean, and I'll say this about Jack Antonoff. I don't know enough of his work to really judge him versus Metro Boomin and Hit Boy. But as a producer, I mean, he produced those albums. He produced. I haven't heard the 1975 album. And obviously, I haven't heard Lana Del Rey. But I mean, I know obviously I've heard Midnight's, and I've heard other stuff that he's produced, not just this year's stuff, and he's a great producer as well. So
Yes.
this is one where I might be a little annoyed because I'm a huge hip hop fan and I love to see hip hop producers win these awards.
Well,
but at least he's deserving.
You can see this is a more hip hop focused podcast. Obviously, we talk about all music, but that's where our bias is going to come through on there. So,
of course,
you have to excuse us for that. But like I said, bias aside, I could see Jack Antonoff winning it as well. He's probably going to win it. We just think Metro Boomin. It would be hip hop artists and producers do not get enough shine in these award shows, so we're going to.
They do not. They do not
for them.
And they should get more.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. So this next category, very interesting
about this one.
Very, very interesting to say the least, because there's I won't have much to say. But so best new artist, so we have Gracie Abrams, we have Fred again, we have Ice Spice, Jelly Roll, Coco Jones, we have Noah Kahan,
Sure.
However you say that, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. Victoria Monet, and then The War and Treaty. So I'm gonna keep it up front with you guys. Only 3 of those names I know. Well, 3 of those names I'm familiar with. I've heard of Jelly Roll just recently, but everybody else other than Ice Spice, Coco Jones, Victoria Monet, I know them. Everybody else, I have no idea. So,
yeah,
I'm not even going to tell you who I think should win this because I'm not qualified to tell you, honestly.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I don't think that I have an opinion on who should win, just based on everything that I've heard of everyone that talking about these artists. I feel like a gut feeling Jelly Roll might win this, but I don't have enough to say who I think should win. I guess the hip hop in us would want to say, "Cool, let's go for Ice Spice," but we're also not the biggest Ice Spice fan, so.
And we're also very aware that Ice Spice probably doesn't deserve to win this. Keeping it real. Well,
yeah,
this achieved a breakthrough into public consciousness and notably impacted. Yeah, definitely not. She has not notably impacted the musical landscape. There's no way. I'm sorry. She's not. If that's part of what it is, she definitely doesn't deserve to win it. Yeah, so we can just skip this one and move forward because there's not much else to say.
Yep. Next one coming up is Song of the Year. This one has quite a few good songs up here, a couple that we've already seen. I had a feeling you already know what we're going to probably say is going to win. But kind of like how we just went through the pop one, honestly. But we've got A&W by Lana Del Rey. Great song. Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift. Already talked about that one. Butterfly by John Batiste. First time seeing his name on a category like this, so that's great to see. Great song. Probably not my favorite song of his that came out this year, but still. Dance the Night off of the Barbie album. That's by Dua Lipa. Flowers by Miley Cyrus. Seeing that again. Kill Bill by SZA. Seeing that again. Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. Seeing that one again. And then What Was I Made For off of the Barbie album by Billie Eilish. I think we saw that one earlier as well.
I think it was in the best pop song.
I'm going to keep this one short for y'all. We both I'm going to speak for Elijah. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We both think that Flowers probably is going to win. I am a bigger fan of Vampire, just like we said on the last category. If you want to surprise me and say that a song off of the Barbie album should win, Elijah, go right ahead.
No. I mean, it's not really much surprise. Surprise. I would love Kill Bill to win because obviously she's just a fan. Realistically, Flowers probably is going to win, but Vampire's also probably should. But Vampire's also very deserving, and it'd be kind of cool in a way to see Olivia Rodrigo take this one. If she takes this one, because it'd be nice to see a newer artist. Because I mean, she's not brand new, obviously, but like, this is like her second, third year really being big. So it'd be kind of cool to see her. I mean, it's a second album, so it'd be kind of cool to see her win an song of the year here.
Fully agreed. The one thing I will say, I would have loved to seen more hip hop nominated for this, but I also get it because I'm gonna be honest, this was a down year for hip hop in terms of big releases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not mad. I'm not mad that no hip hop. Normally, I could make a bigger argument. This time, not too much I can say.
And I think one of the hard parts, it's very hard for hip hop to ever get on a hip hop song to ever be part of Song of the Year because there's requirements for the Grammys. One of them is popularity, and when you're comparing it against, I mean, as you see, pretty much every single every single song on here except for Kill Bill, you could argue, and maybe Butterfly, I guess, but every other song here is definitely a pop song. There's no denying that they're pop songs. Vampire, you could say, is a mix, but it's still pop. But Kill Bill and again Butterfly, you might be able to argue that that one's not pop, but Kill Bill's definitely not a pop song. Kill Bill's definitely an R&B song. But again, that proves the point of like it's very hard for hip hop to break into Song of the Year because it requires you. Basically, the best chance you have is somebody like Drake releasing a song that gets enough spin across a bunch of genres in order for it to get up here. Other than that, it's just very hard for a song, like a hip hop song, to be on there. And realistically, if Drake's song reaches there, he probably is not going to deserve to win it anyway because
probably not.
Yeah.
If I can make a request before we move on to our next category, can we save album of the year for last and go straight to record of the year, which is the top one on here? Because that's kind of the same conversation we just had.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah. So if you want to take those, read those out. There's a couple differences, but it's so similar categories that I don't even see why they differentiate them.
Yeah, this is very weird. There's a lot of the same names on here, and honestly, same songs. We have John Batiste again, but a different song, "Worship," which I like. I like seeing that we have different songs by him in different categories. That says a lot about his album. That means his album is very well received.
Yeah.
We have "Not Strong Enough" by Boy Genius, and I'll let you finish what you were about to say when I finish reading this.
No,
you're
good.
We have "Flowers" by Miley Cyrus. We have "What Was I Made For" by Billie Eilish. We have "On My Mama" by Victoria Monet. We have "Vampire" by Olivia Rodrigo. We have Antihero by Taylor Swift. And then we have "Kill Bill" by SZA. I'm not going to lie, this is a very boring category considering that,
it's almost the exact same as the last one.
3, 4, 5 of the songs of the year are also on this, nominated for this. So it's
really,
very
what's
boring.
The difference? Yeah.
It's cool to see. Again, it's cool to see somebody like Victoria Monet on here with "Oh My Mama." I would definitely say that song is a very great song. I'm glad to see it on here. I mean, honestly, I actually hope she wins it. I don't think she will at all, but I would love to see if she did win it because it'd be nice to see somebody just new come in and win that award. I would be fine in that same case. I'd be fine if John Batiste also won it because that'd be somebody new and also somebody nobody would expect.
And on that same coin, I'm going to throw out Boy Genius. I think that would be great. Obviously, Phoebe Bridgers might be a little bit more famous than the people we just named, but just as that group all together, I would love to see that. I would love to see them win that as well. But overall, the same conversation we had for the last one, apply it to this one.
Yeah,
copy and paste. I don't feel like getting into that again.
No, not really.
Vampire, blah blah blah.
So what I think will happen with Record of the Year and Song of the Year, whichever wins Record of the Year, whichever doesn't win, the other one. Exactly. Yeah, that's what's probably going to happen. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's almost like MVP and Offensive Player of the Year for the NFL. You know,
right.
A quarterback's going to win MVP, and a running back receiver is going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Exactly. You know, that's usually how it happens. Yeah,
you're not going to have a quarterback win MVP and another different quarterback win Offensive Player. That's just unfair. So kind of very unfair up there for our sports fans. But our last, and in my opinion, the most important category, this is I don't care as much for Record of the Year, Album of the Year. And I'll say when I first saw this nomination list, I was very happy with it. There's not a single album where I'd say that one should not have been there. If anything, I'd say expand it and put more on there because this is where I'm going to kind of say there's a snub, but I can't say there's one I would take off either. We'll get into that. So for Album of the Year, we have World Music Radio by John Batiste. I did say when we talked about that album that is an album I thought could be up for a Grammy. We have The Record by Boy Genius. I've said enough about that one. Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus. Again, said enough about that one. Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey? We talked about that one plenty. Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe. Again, one of my favorite albums from this year. Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. Talked about that one plenty. Midnights by Taylor Swift. A really good album from last year. Not one of her best albums ever, but still good. And SOS by SZA, Elijah's choice to win this award.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna deny it.
So before we get into say, okay, he's already said what he's gonna pick. Before he says why and what his like second and third place would be, let's do that. Let's pick a top three. But
Okay.
before he gets into that and before I get into picking mine, I do want to say snub, not because I think it deserves it over some albums on here, because I can't pick one, but if you could expand this category, and this would probably be my album that I think should win it, whether I think it would win it, this would be my pick. Zach Bryan's self-titled album, I think, should be up here, bar none. Very deserving to be up here, man. I love that album. And while we're on it, hit the lead song on that album, Overtime, should have been up for Song of the Year, Record of the Year, whatever. Love that. I'm not too mad that it didn't make the cut again, because all of these albums are really good, and I have heard every single one of these. I can tell you all of these albums are really good. I don't want to speak too down on Midnights. That's probably my least favorite of all of these. Again, don't kill me, Taylor fans. It's not her best work is all I'm saying. It's not her best work. So to consider it against some of these albums, which are these artists' best work, I think that's great for her. I think I can't say it's not deserving to be up for a Grammy, but it's just one compared to these. I would pick all of these over that one. But anyways, exactly. Elijah, SOS is your number one pick. Tell us why. Give us your next two and tell us why.
Okay, so I'll just be honest. I've listened to all these albums except for the record, so I feel pretty confident in saying why I choose SOS. Look, SOS is SZA's best work, and it's a master class. It's a masterpiece of an album. It's one of the, like I said, I've already said it before, it's one of the best albums that's been released in the last few years. So there's just, from top to bottom of the album, strong. Not a single point in the album where I'm just like, where I think I can't speak for everybody, but I think most people could agree if you listen to the whole album, there's not a single part of that album where you're just like, yeah, this album's kind of boring, or this part's kind of boring. This could have been better. She could have done this better. No, this album from beginning to end is just amazing. I just think it deserves to win. Yeah, that's what I would say. So my second and third, that's where it gets a little bit more interesting, because then we're talking about, and again, just want to reiterate, even though I think SOS deserves to win, and I would choose as my winner 100%, I think these are all very deserving winners of this award. This is one of the years, and this is one of the categories that they got perfect as well, in terms of this specific category, in terms of the albums on here. They all deserve to win it. But my second one, I would actually go with Guts, by Olivia Rodrigo. Again, I think that this is one of those albums that I would pick it purely off of what potential this album shows, the potential of her. What she did on this album shows me that there's a chance where she can go, and I really love how she did this album. I love the mix of the genres, and I love that she blended the genres so well, and that's always a good thing. With an album, the album that's up for album of the year, if you're able to do multiple genres and blend them well, that to me automatically puts you high up on that list. And I think Gus did a great job of that. I think Olivia did a great job of that. I think her vocals were great. Now, as far as my third choice, oh man, I could be cheeky and say it's a three place tie, but I'm gonna choose one for you guys. I'm not gonna do that. It's hard for me to do this because it's like I like all these albums, and it's really like splitting hairs. But I'd actually probably go with Endless Summer Vacation, just because I loved her vocal performance. I think this is probably Miley Cyrus's best album, honestly. And I think that the vocal performance on this album is so significantly better than all her other albums that it just like, not to say her vocal performance on her other albums were bad or anything, but I think this is just such a huge step up in vocal performance that like, like I feel like she came out with the best music in this album, and it came from a lot of her vulnerability, a lot of her emotions, being able to not only have those emotions, but be able to present them and be able to have you feel them through her voice, through her vocal performance on each song. Um, like I said, it's splitting hairs, so it's tough because I would love John Batiste to win this. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love somebody like him to win it. I would
I'm
love
gonna say he's probably the
Janelle Monáe
least
too.
likely to win it.
Him and Janelle Monáe are probably the least likely ones to win it, if we're being honest. Which sucks to say that about Janelle Monáe, but because the album's really
Now,
great.
I will let me make the argument for Janelle Monáe. I agree.
Okay.
She's probably one of the less likely. Let me make the argument for her.
I
She
wanna hear
got robbed of Album of the Year for Dirty Computer. Absolutely robbed. Casey Musgraves dropped a really good album. It was not in the same stratosphere as Dirty Computer. And the Grammys has a history of makeup awards. That being
That's true.
said, Age of Pleasure is not. It's also not in the same stratosphere as Dirty Computer. It is a great album, one of my favorites of the year. But yeah, no, I would be happy if it won. I don't think it's going to. I would be happy if John Batiste won. I would also be extremely shocked if John Batiste won. I think that
Agreed.
album did. I think that album did, as great as it was, did have some clear pitfalls that probably makes it one of the worst nominated of these. Still very deserving. Still very happy it's up there. So I would do something slightly different than how Elijah did it. What I think is going to win is Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus, honestly. That's just the best combination of popularity and quality. I think that one hits both perfectly.
Mhm.
But my top three of what I would want to win, how I would pick it, my number one would probably be Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe.
Okay.
Love that album. Such a vibe, but also it's really fun to listen to. It's really good to listen to. She does so many fun things on there musically. The Record by Boy Genius. I can't speak enough about how much that album surprised me, how great it was. Obviously, I knew how great Phoebe Bridgers was, but just whenever I listened to it for the first time, how it spoke to me and how I continue to go back to it. And I look forward to listening to it every single time. I don't want to not say SZA, just because I haven't listened to that album in a while and it came out last year. It kind of sits on the back burner for me. So I want to give the shot. I'm not going to put that in my third place, but it probably would be had I recently listened to it. My third place is going to be Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. As much as I love Lana Del Rey's album, Olivia Rodrigo is more fun to listen to, in my opinion. I get more enjoyment out of her music. Lana Del Rey's album is probably more artistic. I do think her music doesn't warrant for her showing off her vocals as much. So it just depends on what you value more, whether it's the writing or the vocal performance. In terms of a listening experience, obviously the vocal performance will always win.
Always.
I'll say the only person I do not see winning this at all is John Batiste. I'd be a little bit very happily surprised if Boy Genius won. Miley Cyrus probably will win. Lana Del Rey, I could see her winning. She's been up for this award multiple times. Janelle Monáe as like a makeup pick. Also, it was the most fun. Olivia Rodrigo as the young artist up and coming. Taylor Swift just because she's Taylor Swift. And let's be honest, SZA might be the most talented artist out of all of these people we just named. So
yeah, let's
not be surprised if she wins either.
I think realistically, I think it's going to be I honestly think it's going to be between Miley Cyrus and SZA on this one. Just because I think quality wise, SZA's album is better than Miley's, but I think popularity wise, obviously, it's crazy to say this, but Miley might be more popular than SZA. So,
but they're both close in both of those categories, the quality and the popularity are.
Yeah, they're both close. So it's like choosing one over the other is hard, and that's why I said this is a great category this year. And I mean, I love when the Grammys gets it right to this point where you do not know who's going to win, because it's like, wow. And unfortunately, though, that also leads you to certain situations where what should have won doesn't win, like Macklemore, because There's no way that I'm sorry. I gotta go back to that because I don't remember the nominations in that category, but like no matter who else they chose, it would have been 100 times better than Macklemore. I'm just gonna be honest. It would have been 100 times better than Macklemore. But
what year was
I'll say
that?
that as Logan's looking it up, I'm saying that to say that when it comes to record of the year, album of the year, I should say, none of these are a Macklemore situation, and none of these are necessarily a Kendrick Lamar situation where it's so overwhelming that he should win it or they should win it.
What was up for it was Good Kid, Mad City, Yeezus by Kanye, Magna Carta, Holy Grail by Jay-Z, and which might have been the only album up for it that had an argument to be worse than Macklemore's. Love Jay-Z, and Nothing Was the Same by Drake. Should have been Good Kid, Mad City. Would have been very fine with Nothing Was the Same or Yeezus taking it. The only other one that would have made me mad would have been Jay-Z, but it's Jay-Z, so it's okay.
Any of those other albums, if any of those other albums had won it, I would have been fine. I would have been okay. I mean, I still would have been annoyed because I think Good Kid, Mad City obviously should have won it, but
I'd be mad if Jay-Z had won it just because of the quality of that album. But that it's Jay-Z, so you live with it. Okay, whatever. Jay-Z's a deserving artist, just not for that specific album.
But Drake and Kanye, but Nothing Was the Same, and Yeezus on any other individual year, those probably would have been easy winners. You know, if they weren't going up against Good Kid, Mad City, they probably would have been easy Grammy winners. But apparently, they weren't going up against Macklemore too. I mean, I don't know.
The only other question we have to ask, if he's willing to show his face, when Taylor Swift ends up winning Album of the Year, will Kanye storm the stage?
Yikes. Listen, if Taylor Swift wins Album of the Year, I know I said I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be very, very annoyed.
I'd be a little... Again, that's not her best album. I don't think it's as deserving as some of her past albums. Like, if we were talking about 1989, Red, something like that, but this one's not as good as those.
And, like, just the albums it's up against as well, it's just, like, they're better albums, if I'm being honest. They just are.
Just like I said about John Batiste albums, Midnight's does have some pitfalls. I really enjoyed it when it first came out. I don't think it has the longevity to people who aren't Swifties anyways. I don't think it has the longevity to keep going back to it and be excited to listen to it over and over again the way that Boy Genius did, or the way that Endless Summer Vacation, Guts, SOS, blah, 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 all of those do.
So yeah, overall, I want to give just a quick thoughts overall of this award, this Grammy year. I think that for the most part, they've done actually a great job. I don't think there's a single of the categories that we obviously focused on. I don't think there's a single one where like there's just an obvious person that's like does not deserve at all to be on there. I know we kind of rag on Doja Cat a little bit, but like she is obviously a very popular artist. She deserves to be recognized for that, and she's also a talented artist too. As much as we may not like her music sometimes, we may not like her, she's still a talented artist and does deserve some recognition. So like I'm not too upset with her being on the list. I might question how they placed her a little bit, and I think that there's some categories where people are placed a little weirdly and probably could have been placed in different areas. And I don't think Logan can agree with me on that one.
I agree. But
overall, at least how I feel like this should be a pretty good Grammys year. There's always going to be surprises. There's always going to be upsets. There's always going to be this artist should have been on here, but yada yada. But I think that overall they've done a solid job this year, and I think that I don't think we'll be too upset when the Grammys roll around and we see who actually wins some of these.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And again, I think a lot of the reason why we're not so upset, one, it's been a really good year for music outside of hip hop. So a lot of deserving artists are getting nominated, but two, usually more of why we would get upset is, oh, this hip hop artist got robbed or stuff like that, especially in those major categories where a Kendrick gets nominated as the clear deserving winner. And this has been not that great of a year for hip hop music. Again, no one like JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown were never going to get recognition or anything like that. Artists like that were never going to get up there in the major categories. So of the major albums we got, none of them I can say were really deserving of being up. Like, can I say Utopia should have been up for Album of the Year at the Grammys? I mean,
you could say it.
It's a great album,
but I don't think it's. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And that was that's the first one that I would think even had a shot at it. So no, I very down year for hip hop in terms of Grammy level hip hop. A lot of
Yeah,
fun music has dropped. Again, would have loved to
a lot of
see.
fun music.
I can make some arguments for some stuff within the hip hop category, but outside of the hip hop category, no, I don't see any of those having been up for anything. So not that much to be mad about for us as hip hop fans.
Right.
Not that much to
Yeah.
complain about.
I mean, and it's been a very down year for hip hop. I mean, you guys have seen a lot of artists have commented that themselves, which
Yeah.
kind of annoys me because it's like, okay, well then you release something that's not down. But hey,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. But again, of the stuff that's been nominated for the hip hop category specifically, I think they got them right for the most part. Again,
Yeah.
I'm surprised, but pleasantly surprised that Killer Mike was on there a bunch of times. I'm very
Yeah.
very pleasantly surprised by that. I'm glad to see that because that's one of the
I would
better
have been
albums.
I would have been happy to see more Uzi just because of his experimentation and how well he pulled it off. But overall, yeah, I agree. I think most of what they did within every category they got pretty well. My biggest complaint being Zach Bryan not being up for Album of the Year, but I'm sure he'll have another chance to be up there if he continues on the trend he's on.
Exactly. So, I think just overall, remember the Grammys are always there. They're always going to have something that's going to frustrate somebody, make somebody upset.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they just get most of the things right, and I think they got most of the nominations right. Now the question is, do they get the actual winners right? The winners actually get it right. But the nominations are great, and I love that they keep on adding new categories and they keep on expanding the categories.
Yeah.
So I know I was a little confused why they had progressive R&B and regular R&B, but I'm glad to see that because again, that gives more artists more chances to get recognized. And I think that's always a good thing when there's more chances for artists that aren't the most popular necessarily, or even artists that are blowing up to get recognized. Again, like I said, specifically R&B, seeing Coco Jones and Victoria Monet, who have had a lot of traction in the last few months, seeing them getting recognized in the Grammys is very great. Actually, Victoria Monet was literally up. Was it Record of the Year or was it I think it's Record of the Year that Victoria Monet's song is up for.
Yes.
Yeah. So even seeing that is amazing to see. So again, we know the Grammys. We know how the Grammys are, but you guys can tell us how you feel. Definitely, tell us how you feel. We'll probably put a poll up on TikTok about this, seeing what you guys think the Grammys did a good job. You think they did a bad job, or you think they did okay job? We'll figure that part out. But we want to see what you guys think as well, because we both seem to agree that they're good, that they did a good job. But tell us how you guys feel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Always remember to share. If you enjoyed this, you think somebody else will share, or you think somebody else would enjoy it, I should say, please share it with them. Anybody that we help enjoy, even if it's 5 minutes of enjoyment from this, we love that. But yeah, as far as that, just keep looking on TikTok. We're definitely going to come out with more stuff for you guys on TikTok. TikTok's going to be our main source of production outside of the podcast itself. So just keep your eyes on TikTok. Keep interacting with us on there. We keep putting out stuff for you guys, and we're gonna utilize that a lot. So, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say, Logan.
I think you got all of it, man. Like I said, looking forward to whenever they do drop these Grammys, so we can see who ends up winning. Don't think there's going to be too much to be mad about. Follow us on all of the sites, specifically TikTok, so that you can see our reviews, see the other fun stuff that we're going to start doing, especially now that I'm outside of football season. And keep listening to us. Don't expect weekly episodes anymore. Like I said, we're trying to go more to a every other week situation, maybe with a more topical episode in the middle of the month and a more like, hey, here's what came out this month episode at the end of the month. Don't hold me to that. That's just the idea right now. We hold the freedom to change that if we think that there's a better idea. Okay.
And we also will take your suggestions in mind with that too.
Yes, absolutely. But that being said, I think that's all we got for y'all. Unless you got anything else, Elijah, you can close this out.
No, like I said, just follow, like, comment, subscribe. Like Logan said, we're gonna move from every other week. So on the middle of the weeks that we're not doing the podcast, we'll have extra TikTok content out for you guys. We'll make sure we keep it engaged for you guys. So just keep on lookout. If we don't have a podcast that week, check TikTok and see what we might have on there for you, because there might be some cool stuff that you might like on there as well. But with that being said, like Logan said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and peace out.